not given to wine, no striker, not greedy of filthy lucre, but patient, not a brawler, not covetous.
These characteristics of the minister, he said, not greedy of filthy lucre, money, evil money. They can bribe them to tell them, bribe the preacher and say, look, we don't want you to preach that no more now, or we're going to fire you. If he greedy of that money, guess what? He going to preach whatever they say. He ain't going to preach the truth. You was too hard, that minister now. Don't come back to that message again, or we going to go replace you. That's why I'm so glad y'all pay me. Go ahead.
Verse 4. One that ruleth well his own house, having his children in subjection with all gravity.
That's what he said now. One that ruleth well his own house, having his children in subjection with all gravity. Go ahead.
For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of God?
You can't take care of the church of God. You don't know how to run your own house. You don't know how to run your own house. I saw one time in a church, they liked the preacher so much. It was in the news. He was a child molester. And they didn't want to get rid of him. They told the kids, y'all can't come to church when he preach. Because the child molester can't be around there. And these people went for it. They got the minister in there, he a child molester. Kids, y'all can't come to church when he preach. That gentleman don't supposed to be a preacher, period. He done lost that privilege. But this is what they set up in these churches. He probably put some words together, make them feel real good. But this is what he's talking about, man, how you can have to be, having your children under subjection. Come on, I know I stand not in their behind. They understand. Period. So you tell a lot about their kids. Let's go to Genesis chapter 18. We'll start at verse 17. Let's deal with Abraham and see how God chose him. And see what he thought of Abraham. God looks at all your household, from your wife, from your kids. He looks at everything before he tells you, okay, I can use him. He looks at it all. Verse 17. Genesis 18, verse 17. Go ahead.
And the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do?
See, this is the time when God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. And he was telling him, should I hide the things what I was going to do to him? He showed Abraham what he was going to do and how he was going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. But listen how he chose Abraham to talk to him, what he had in him. Go ahead.
Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation.
Yes, sir.
And all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him.
All the nations shall be blessed from Abraham. He started off from Abraham. That was the blessed bloodline that came from Israel. Go ahead.
For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him. And they shall keep the way of the Lord to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he had spoken of him.
See what he said? He said, I know him. Because what? He will command his children and his household after him.
That's right.
That's what a man of God gonna do. He gonna command them. But they got this stuff going on out there, over here in Rosa Plaza and all this. If you ain't a strong man, your kids see that, man, I want to go over there and play with them. Like, we ain't going over there. We going home, we gonna make sure we do the Sabbath the right way. But a weak man, oh, they can walk over there and we ain't gonna do no but observe, look around. Next thing you know, he jumping around with them. Next thing you know, they eating all that stuff on that grill. No, you don't supposed to be cooking on the fire on the Sabbath day. All this stuff is right in line with the book if you just follow it. But if you're looking at this stuff out there in the world, they will fool you in thinking that ain't nothing wrong with you just having a little fun on the Sabbath day. What God said in Isaiah chapter 15, he said, put away all your pleasure. Right. All of it. You're supposed to be in this book, resting and learning about him. But what we do, we go for an hour, we clock in on the Sabbath day, and we go back to all we want to do. That ain't how it works, y'all. And he watching. And most of all, he watching the man. See how he command his household. My wife can tell you, I don't care about your feelings, especially with the kids. Nah, we don't do this for him now. If it ain't right, we don't do it. And that's what you're supposed to do. Let's keep moving. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 6. And this is a good lesson for everybody. Even for me. It's a refresher course. You can never learn too much about how the household is supposed to be ran. That's right. You can never learn too much. All right, everybody got a responsibility. Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 1. Go ahead.
Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right.
He's telling your children, children. If you want to die quick, don't obey them. Don't obey them. And you see the kids out here in the world today, they dropping like flies. Dying. And you wonder why? Because of this. Go ahead.
Honor thy father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise.
That's a promise. He said the first commandment with promise. What do you promise? Go ahead.
That it may be well with thee, and thou mayest live long on the earth.
Live long on the earth. Now, I'm not telling kids out there just, you understand some kids in some households where they got to do certain stuff what their parents tell them to do. You understand that. You just got to fight through that. But when you grow up and understand what you're supposed to be doing, move forward. But he telling you to honor, meaning that don't disrespect them. Even though they're doing wrong, you don't call your mom out of the name, you don't call your dad out of the name, you don't cuss them out, you don't do all this stuff toward them that is wrong. You honor them. If you ain't got nothing good to say, don't say nothing at all. Children, period. Because God will write it down. And you might have lived to be 7 years old, you just say this against your mama, or he can chop you down to 10 more years off your life. Now you're at 60. Then he chop you down to 30 years of your life. Because you have dishonored your family. That's why you have your mother and father. That's why you have kids dying so quick. They dying. Left and right. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 4. And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and the admonition of the Lord.
See, that's why I tell you, Father, you got a big responsibility here. Big. You the captain of the ship. Come on. You the captain. You lead this ship. He said you bring them up and don't provoke them to anger. Meaning doing stuff to them that is not godly. They ain't talking about anger like, oh, I told you to do something, then you get angry about it. No, they ain't talking about that. I'm talking about stuff where how some parents will prostitute their daughters out. Or some parents will prostitute their sons out. Just for that crack. Or some of them just talk down bad about them. That's what we're talking about, provoking them to anger. And I understand why kids are so angry with their parents. If you go and look at what some of the stuff their parents did to them, man, you can get up and shake your head and lift your hand up and holler. Like Marvin Gaye said, and make you want to holler. Kids going through a whole lot of crap in their household. Molestation. All this stuff. And they bringing this man or this woman in the household and they are letting them do this to me. I understand why some kids are angry. But just don't call them out their name. You ain't got nothing good to say, don't say nothing good at all. Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 6. We get some good work today. Good work. Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 6. Believe me, don't let defects raise your kids now. You got to train them. If they don't want to be trained, you gotta put something on that behind. Verse 6, go ahead, brother.
Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it.
See, we said train him. Not saying that that person, that kid, is not going to make a mistake or they is not going to sin. No, he said train him so they won't depart from it. Meaning that, oh, I sinned, I made a mistake, I'm sorry, now let me get back on track. He won't depart from him. You train him the right way, training him in the right word of God. Train him up, teach him how to command. That's the first thing I taught my kid. Y'all got to learn the 10 commandments. Learn it. Because I think that's a very good starting point for any kid. Shoot, any adult. Half the adults don't need no 10 commandments.
That's right.
Jump down to verse 15.
Foolishness is bound in the heart of a child.
Foolishness is bound in the heart of a child. They are foolish. So this is how you get them right.
But the rod of correction shall drive it far from him.
It'll drive it, but put someone in behind.
That's right.
Quick, a rod of correction. All you gotta do is put it on that right. Now my dad used to do me, and my kids know when I get that look, they're like, you better calm down. But some kids today, you look at them and be frowning at them, they'll go back doing whatever they want to do. But back way when your mom look at you, your dad look at you and say, hey, you better stop that. One thing my dad used to say, he'd say, park it. And we knew to sit down. If we didn't sit down, the pain is coming. Pain. That's a, boy, I get scared now thinking about some of that stuff. Ain't no never get the time we was in the house, man. All of them grown, 30-something years old at the time. Me and my brothers, we messed around playing around, and we broke one in the house. And we just like, oh man, we broke the one, you know, daddy gonna say this and that. And we had to snap out of it, like, man, we grown now. We were trying to hide it, put a sign on everything. We had to snap out of it. I said, man, we can pay for this. So we don't have to pay for the one he. But the thing was, he had that much respect from us as a child, growing up to be men. Fear, boy. Still had it. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 24. This is what we're reading now. This is for the men to understand what they're supposed to do. You got to be the disciplinarian, the main one. Go ahead, brother. Verse 24. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 24.
He that spareth his rod hateth his son.
See, if you don't whoop your kid, you hate him. You hate them. If you don't put someone in behind, you hate them. I didn't say it. This is what the book said. Go ahead.
But he that loveth him chases him betimes.
He said, if you love him, you're going to put someone left behind. In other words, chase him. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 23 and verse 13. I like to know keep it 1 or 2 lines. Straight to the point. Proverbs chapter 23 and verse 13. We'll read 13 and 14. Go ahead.
Withhold not correction from the child, for if thou beatest him with the rod,
If thou what?
beateth him with the rod,
Pick this up.
he shall not die.
He ain't gonna die if you beat him or she beat me behind. They know, but I mean one time I beat around so hard, I woke up that morning, I was like, man, what's on my shoulder? Put it on them. Because they got to remember. They got to remember. If they don't remember that, guess what? Oh, they ain't hurt. They'll do it again. That's what they do. Oh, they ain't hurt. They're going to do it again. But if you put someone there behind righteously, they're going to remember that. They're going to remember that. Go ahead.
Thou shalt beat him with the rod, and shalt deliver his soul from hell.
Yes, sir. He said, thou shalt beat him with the rod and what? Deliver his soul from hell. Period. That's why we beat him. That's what we do. If you don't beat them, they're going to be some menace to society. That's why these people don't want to be around Israel. That's why they don't want to be around us at all, because we are out of control. Our parents ain't did a job. Period. We gotta do what's right. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 18. Let's deal with the wise. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 22. Go ahead, brother.
Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing, and obtaineth favor of the Lord.
See, that's the thing. Whosoever found a wife found a good thing. But these brothers out here, they finding these hoes. They found them. And they said they're good things. You know why? Because their parents ain't taught them what to see, what to find, what is in a good wife. You can't turn no hoe into no housewife. Period. I know y'all heard that in one deal movie, but that's true. You gotta be able to have this knowledge of this book so you know the characteristics of a good wife. You gotta know it. Proverbs chapter 19, verse 14. Let me show you how important it is for you to find a good wife. Go ahead. I'm telling you, girls, pay attention to this. Women, pay attention to this. This is what you must have. Go ahead.
House and riches are the inheritance of fathers,
Yes, sir.
and a prudent wife is from the Lord.
A prudent wife. So wife, prudent means somebody who's intelligent, somebody who's very understanding, somebody who's a teacher. It's the characteristic that a woman's supposed to have. She don't supposed to be the one out there in the club all the time, one got the latest clothes. That's all she has, her outer appearance. Always dwelling on what her face look like, or how big her butt is, how big her breast is. You see all that stuff. Ain't thinking about this mind. That's what a wife's supposed to do. She's supposed to learn how to be a wife. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 31. Same book. Proverbs chapter 31. These are the characteristics of a good wife. Proverbs 31, and we're going to start at verse 10. Go ahead, brother.
Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies.
Man, that's today. Who can find one today? Her price is far above rubies. So meaning money. Hey, why I look at it in the word today, I'm telling you, 99.9% of these women today are hood rats. Hood. And I'm not even stressing that. Because the word, if you go according to the Bible, how a woman's supposed to act, they are not acting this way. That's why I can say they are hood rats. Virtuous. That's what we got to understand. Stop trying to judge people, call, oh, that's a good person. Good person to who? It ain't good to the Lord at all. Who can find virtuous? Let's see what this woman do. Go ahead.
Verse 11. The heart of her husband doeth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil.
See, when you are a good wife, that man ain't got nothing, he'll trust in you. Oh, I know she gonna get this done. I know she gonna get that done. But in these households, you better watch your back. You better watch your checkbook. You better watch your credit card. That's why I said, who can find a virtuous woman? This is the characteristics. Jump down to verse 25. Go ahead.
Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come.
See that strength and honor. Honorable. You ain't ashamed to say, oh, that's my wife right there. Strength and honor is her clothing. Not, oh, I got the tightest J's on, I got the tightest red bottom shoes on, I got the tightest this. That's her honor, what she look. No, strength and honor is in her, how she carry herself. Carry herself. It's not about looks. Believe me, that's gonna fade. And what you got then? Nothing.
Amen.
A hood rat. Go ahead.
She opened her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness.
Yes, sir. When she opened her mouth with wisdom. I know some of these husbands out here, they say, boy, I hope my wife don't say nothing around my friend. Oh, she don't say nothing. They're going to find out how dumb she is. They're going to find out how foolish she is. They're going to find out how hood she is. Because she ain't got no knowledge of this book. The only thing she got knowledge is of the word. That's what we're talking about here. Stop being in this bubble and saying that, oh, he a good person, she a good person. According to who? To your standards? God said, my ways are not your ways. My thoughts are not your thoughts. Period. That's why we got to go by this book. Go ahead.
27. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness.
She ain't just sitting there on the computer sucking her thumb. And the house is sitting up there in mess, not cleaning up, not washing clothes, not taking care of the business of the household. She ain't idle. She handling her business. This is how a real virtuous woman is supposed to be.
That's right.
You gotta sit up and tell her to get up and go take a bath. What's wrong with you? That ain't no virtuous woman. You gotta tell her to go cook, go clean, take care of the kids, teach them. That ain't no virtuous woman. You got a robot. Go ahead.
Her children arise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her.
Yes, sir. Can very many men out there in the world today say that? Call her blessed. Her children gonna look at her and say, that's my mom, man. I like my mom. That's what you want. That's a blessing for a woman to hear that her kids like to be around her
That's right.
and value her. And her husband, he like to be around her and value her. Go ahead.
29.
Mm-hmm.
Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellence them all, excelleth them all, I'm sorry.
Many dollars have done virtuous, but this one right here, this is the foundation of a good, virtuous woman and wife. This is the foundation. Proverbs 31, you need to read this whole book. And women and men, they need to read this whole book to find out how a real woman is supposed to carry herself. A wife, what to look for. And believe me, if you dating this woman and you thinking about making her your wife, you better take her to this book. You better take her to this book. Let her read some of this stuff. Go ahead.
Favor is deceitful, beauty is vain.
See what he said? Favor is deceitful, beauty is vain. Most women get stuff because of the way they look. It's vain, but when you get old, I don't know how much stuff you're going to get in. When stuff starts sagging all on you. When you ain't looking at, you ain't that fox or that brick house or that diva like you used to be. I wonder how much stuff you're going to get in. It's all about what's in here in your mind and how you carry yourself according to this book. Read that again.
Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain. But a woman that fears the Lord, she shall be praised.
She shall be praised. How you gonna fear? The knowledge of Him. You learn about Him. You learn how to carry yourself. This is how you carry yourself as a virtuous woman. Go ahead.
Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates.
Yes, sir. Give her the fruit of her hand. Whatever she's doing, it's gonna excel. She's gonna prosper. Because she ain't just sitting there idle. She go out there to the flea market. She do coupons. She do all this stuff that a virtuous woman gonna do to try to benefit her household. Along with her job. The husband look like, man, I got me a good thing here. I won't say nothing too loud. This one might be after my wife. Because some cats be looking for a good wife and try to get yours. Can't praise it too much now. Not around you fellas. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 12 and 4.